Hey guys, Matt here, back for our fifth and final video. So far we've installed the unit, we've installed the actuator, we've routed the wire, we've connected the harness, and we've showed you guys about the pin in case something would happen. So we're on to the last few parts of the kit. We're almost done. So this last part of the kit is a shock limiter. It's designed to limit how far the bike is going to go up, not down, but up, and just do that to where the swing arm doesn't extend past the frame further than it would for stock. So I'm just going to start by removing these bolts. I would use blue Loctite on these. I've got a flashlight kind of crammed in here. I'm gonna have Mike come over, and kind of hard to see in here, but ultimately this part has a T on it. So that's gonna be your top part. And I'm gonna slide it into position from the side on the exhaust side, just that easy, just fall right into place. Now I'm going to take the bottom, I'm going to take one of my screws, I'm going to simply hold the bottom in place underneath, and it's going to sandwich together, make a clamp around those two shock shafts right there that you can see highlighted. Let me just pull this back. Let's see one more time. Shock shaft right here where my finger is. And there's one on the other side naturally connected to the other shock. This part's going to be coming over the top and bridging both of them together, just like that. Bottom part, simply as I say, is a sandwich. Just like that, into position. I'm just going to start with the middle one, so it'll try to hold it for me. All right, so we've got one bolt in here. I'm going to go ahead and throw the other four in real quick. All right, so I've got all 5 bolts in here started, blue Loctite on them. I want to point this out that basically right now, it's going to be a little bit difficult to see just because of our room in here, but this bracket can slide back and forth on the shafts where we were looking at earlier. You want to make sure that this bracket is all the way forward, as far as it will go, against those nuts. Important, so that way when the shock comes forward, if it were to bump against this, then it's transferred into your isolator mounts and you won't feel anything. Feel exactly the same as it was. So now that I know that that's where it is, I would go around and tighten all 5 for the video. I'm just going to tighten the center guy up, show you guys what's up, and then when I air the bike up, I'm going to have you stay right there, Michael. When I air the bike up, you're going to see it's going to bump up against that block. When I air it down, it goes away. When I air the bike up, it bumps up against that block, limiting how high it goes. Boom, just like that. Still tons of travel, stock height. And ultimately what that's doing is it's giving us just enough room to make all this work. So lastly, what we need to talk about is the shims. So we use these shims on our other kits, our touring kits, if you're familiar with those. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the stand down. Ultimately what's going on is I have one of these shims in place right now. We send you 6. This is 3, we send you 6, a set for each side. You're going to want to have preload on the bike, so basically meaning when you drop this down, it doesn't just sit on this. It actually engages this. The ground would be lower in your mind's eye, so you add height. That way it's not just resting on this, but it's actually engaging it. So depending on what air ride you have, depending on what wheels you have, is going to dictate this height. That's why we sell you these shims. Along with this though, if you were to run this with no shims on it at all, just the aluminum, then this is where this new angle plate comes into play. So there's 2 of them that are going to come in your kit. We have a third one, which I'm going to speak about in a minute, but for all the kits that we've been selling, they have 2 plates. Let's see if Mike can see these. One has a number 1 and one has a number 2. 1, 2. So the number 1 plate is used when there's no shims involved. The number 2 plate is used when all your shims are involved. Lastly, this number 3 plate, we've made this as a kit for FX bikes that are going to sit a little bit taller. It's a 1-inch block shim and a number 3. So these are available separate, and we can touch on that at a different time. But about 95% of you guys are going to be running what we've sent. So again, you're going to use plate number 1 with no shims. You're going to use plate number 2 with 3 shims. And what you're going to notice here is that it has an angle built into the part, and that's going to make sure when this leg comes down into position that it's associated at the right stopping position. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back up, and this angle plate is the last thing we have to install with these 4 bolts. Blue Loctite on these as well. And you're going to install it down here. I'm going to grab another kit, but you're going to install it right here, and that's going to line up to this stop, and that's what again is going to set your travel so this angle is at the right height. Bear with me, stay right there, guys. Just have a look at the kit real quick, Mike, and I'll be right back.